The city of Toronto has woken up from its slumber, but don't expect prices to increase for now. At least that's what one of these articles said back on January 18th, 2024. What we've seen in the 2 weeks since that article is an increase in demand that I don't think anybody was really expecting in the month of January. I'm Michael Ouzas. I'm a realtor here in Toronto. Comment down below on what you've been seeing in the Toronto real estate market. If you want to book a call with me to discuss what's been happening on the ground level in the Toronto real estate market, you can click that first link in the description down below. Now, here's one thing that Toronto does differently than most markets in Canada is that it can change scripts on a dime. 2 weeks ago, we saw properties that have been sitting on the market for 30, 40, 100 days, not really getting any traction. In the last week or two, we have started to see those properties moving in an unexpected turn of events. We've also been seeing multiple double-digit offer nights happening on properties, especially in the desirable areas of the city. Does that mean that things are going crazy and we're back into a frenzy like we were in February 2022? Definitely not. However, it is starting to paint a bit of a picture of the same kind of thing we saw last year in January when the Bank of Canada held its overnight interest rate, just like it did this year. We jump over to CB24. Toronto real estate may have woke up from its slumber, but don't expect prices to increase for now. And this report came from RBC's Housing Outlook report for 2024. This was posted about 2 weeks ago, January 18th. And since then, we've definitely seen that turn of events as mentioned. This is the actual PDF from RBC. And this is where they took that paragraph where it says activity spikes in Toronto. The Toronto area market woke up from its slumber as 2023 drew to a close. And if you did watch any of my previous videos, we were talking about how in December we started to see more activity than we have in the past, which is signaling that buyer confidence was starting to come back into the market. That January 25th announcement solidified the buyer confidence, as since then in the last week or so, we've been seeing things definitely pick up. Home sales spiked 21% in December from a near 15-year low in November, and not including the pandemic shutdown period, and also seeing uptick in other areas of Ontario, London, Ottawa, Brantford, Cambridge, North Bay, Kitchener, Waterloo. Does that mean that everything has been flying off the shelves? Definitely not. Some of the properties that have been sitting on the market may not be super desirable, or they might need a lot of work. The properties that are well manicured, well presented, and more importantly, well priced seem to still be getting pretty good attention, and actually increasing demand for those properties has been creeping up throughout the city. I've seen as high as 85 offers last week in Mississauga, 52 offers in Oshawa, and multiple double-digit offer nights in the city of Toronto. We've also been seeing double-digit offers when it comes to areas like Bloor West, Roncy, Leslieville, Riverdale, and in and around the city in that price point between $1 million and $2 million. That RBC forecast also piggybacking off Royal LePage's 2024 market survey forecast. And I do work with Royal LePage. That is my parent company here at Royal LePage Signature. If we look at what they're saying for the Greater Toronto Area, they're anticipating that prices will go up about 6% year over year from Q4 of 2023 to Q4 of 2024. It may turn out to be a little bit similar to last year, where we saw prices increase significantly from January through the mid part of the year, and then definitely decreased later in the year as both the fixed rates and the variable interest rates increased. This year, if they do decide to make any moves with the rates going in the other direction, we may see prices increase in the fall as well, but that will remain to be seen, and definitely something to keep an eye on as we go through the year. And what that 6% increase looks like is a $1.2 million price point, up from about just over 1.13 to be exact. To break it down a little further, they're predicting that freehold properties will go up 7% and condos up 5% by the end of the year. Interestingly enough, this article from the Financial Post also came out the other day, and it talks about how pricing has gone up 116% over the last 10 years. If you've been watching the channel for some time, we've discussed multiple times how pricing in Toronto has gone up on average about 6.8% a year for the last 40 years. What that equates to is about a doubling of pricing every 10 years or so. This 113% kind of falls in line to where things would be in the trend line, even with that peak that happened in February 2022, which happened 2 years ago, which is a distant memory compared to today's market. eventually the properties typically find that trend line and have been carrying along since. Now, in my prediction video this year, I predicted that prices would go up 7% this year, which would be kind of in line with where things should be as basically the average for the city of Toronto. It'll remain to be seen how this plays out, but 116%, essentially the December 2023 price of $1.273300. Now, this is it for a single family home, not including condos, because we know the average price, if you factor in all property home types, was just over 1.13. In December 2013, that average price just under $600,000 at $587,000. One thing I did notice when I looked back at the archives for pricing in 2013, I was seeing properties selling for over asking, and I couldn't believe my eyes when I was looking at these prices. I was like, wow, these prices were still getting over asking prices even 10 years ago. It's the same thing that we've been seeing in the Toronto real estate market in the past. It's just interesting to see that that was still happening 10 years ago as well. Where do we go from here? Hot off the press, this article came out February 1st, 2024, and now it's no secret anymore. Properties have been getting multiple offers. Toronto listings are racking up multiple offers, and there's more heat on the horizon. This came from stories.com. And agents in Toronto noticing that buyers are beginning to breathe life into what tends to be a slow time for the housing market, seasonally speaking. It was eventful January, and I must say that in month of January, it was a very back heavy month, meaning most of the activity feels like it happened in the last probably 10 days of the month. And I do think that the interest rate announcement played a key factor into that. In this paragraph, buyer sentiment in Toronto began to show marked improvement in the final few months of 2023. That being said, as we discussed, November wasn't exactly a very active month. December is what really showed signs of life compared to December of 2022, but still not a super active December according to the historic Toronto real estate market. And they also grabbed this Twitter screenshot, or X now for that matter, from the lawyer's desk, Mark Morris. He's very active on Twitter and does give some anecdotes of what he's been seeing in the Toronto real estate market. January 2024 is hugely and unexpectedly busy. Consumer confidence in housing is 3 weeks into the year, back in a big way. Product that has not moved for months is selling. Where we go from here is anyone's guess. That's what's interesting about the Toronto real estate market. It feels like we basically have two speeds. We have a full stop, so you're sitting at a stoplight or maybe even crawling through a yellow, or we have the German Autobahn, which sometimes feels like things are moving at incredibly fast speed. And I have lived in Europe for a long time, and I've driven on that highway several times. You drive basically as fast as you want. There's no speed limit. It feels like Toronto kind of operates in the same way. It's either very slow or everybody jumps in and it goes very fast. Not to say that everything is flying off the shelves. There's still plenty of condo inventory out there, which I think will be reflective in the numbers of February. And at the time this video launches, we should have the February numbers out. And the next video after this one will be about the Toronto real estate market stats in January. But that being said, we are seeing properties start to move, especially the great properties that are well priced, that look amazing, and are in some of the best neighborhoods in Toronto, which we've discussed on this channel as well. And those neighborhoods still are performing very well when it comes to Toronto real estate, especially in the freehold market. Love to hear your thoughts down below. I'm Michael Ouzas. Thanks for watching.